Hey guys, good morning. Today is Monday, April 13th, and this is your senior seminar class. Today, I just want to welcome all of you guys for coming in. I know that we're a small class, but we are mighty, and you guys have some new things going on this week. Last week and the week before, we were really just focused on your reflective journals. We're still going to continue those because I think that that's a nice space for you guys to have. If you haven't turned in any draft part of it, please do so. It is important. It does go in as the mini QPA grade. But we're going to shift gears this week and we're going to start to get resumes together. Okay. So I'm going to take you through a couple lessons over the course of the week just to explain more about this process and what that can look like for you. So what you'll need today is just your laptop and then access to the PowerPoint that's posted in Google Classroom, okay? You'll also want to have a notebook and something to write with because there are some important details that you don't want to miss. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you today and we're gonna get going. If you need to refer back to this PowerPoint, again, it will be posted in Google Classroom. All right, go ahead and get settled. All right, so today's a big day, writing resumes. Your objective today is to be able to understand three parts: the form, function, and effectiveness of a resume by looking at your own skills. Okay, so you guys are going to be doing some work in terms of like, what are some of the skills that I have, and looking at some example resumes so that way you can say like, yeah, I can do that, or I have done that. This is a skill that I possess. Okay, so the first question is, what is a resume, right? So a resume is basically just an account or a track record of someone's education and qualifications based on work or volunteer service of anything that they've done previously. Okay, so if I was looking at some of my past work experience or even current, I would have lots of jobs because I've been in the workforce since I was like 17. Some of you guys are probably going to be able to relate to that and maybe even had jobs sooner than that. So resumes are different from academic genres in that it serves a different purpose and is intended for a different audience. So you know, usually in humanities, we always talk about audience and who is the intended audience. Well, in this case, the intended audience is going to be a future employer, perhaps a scholarship board, or maybe even a advisory board or admissions board at a college or university that you might be applying to. Okay, so keep in mind that it is a really, really persuasive style of writing because what are you trying to do? You're actually trying to convince people that you are the best candidate for their position, whatever that might be. Okay, so the big question is, have you heard, right? Who before this class knew what their purpose was in a resume? And you guys can leave me a comment or pretend like it's there, right? Who has seen a purpose and how many of you currently have a purpose on your resume? The answer to that is probably not many. So many people skip this step, but it's a really important part of the resume because it's actually going to give the audience, your intended audience, background on what you're trying to pursue. So whether that is getting a part-time job over at Red Rose because you want to be a hostess there, or if it's something like accepting, or I'm sorry, applying for a scholarship through the community service project at Springfield, then maybe that is another audience that needs to know what your purpose is, right? So your purpose changes. This is important. Write this down. Your purpose changes based on who your audience is. Your purpose changes based on who your audience is. Okay, there's also three different parts of a resume, right? So there's the function of it, the form, and then the effectiveness. We call it the 3 Fs. Obviously, it's F, F, and E, but it's a good, easy way for you guys to remember it. So we're going to go through those parts. This is where you're really going to get some notes down. And again, you can always refer back to this. So keep that in mind. All right. So the function of the resume is to inform the audience about you in order to accomplish something, whatever that end result is that you want, whether it's the job, the scholarship, or the entry into the school. What you're trying to do depends on what you're trying to accomplish depends on what you're trying to do, right? So if I am applying to a scholarship, then that's not going to be the same way that I'm going to present myself to a hiring committee, right? The form is that resumes all need to look a certain way. So I put this little fun ballerina down here because when I think about it, for the most part, resumes pretty much look the same no matter whose it is or what kind of experience they have, just like a ballerina would in a dance. If there's 14 dancers, they all have the exact same moves, the same choreography, and so forth. There's basic pieces that come into that, right? So the form has to make sure that you have all of your basic information, right? You'll also want to list any past jobs or education that you have. So yes, your high school counts. You should put that in there. If you were a dual enrollment student, you would also put that in there. And then any volunteer experience that you have. So all of you guys have some sort of volunteer experience, whether it was your time at Mason Wright or whether it was in getting items for the homeless shelter in Springfield, right? And then if you have special skills, like maybe you're really techie, you could put that under your special skills, right? Or maybe you're someone who has a calming effect. There's a lot of you who have that. And you're able to de-escalate people. That's something that's really important. That's a skill that you have. Okay. If your resume doesn't look like a traditional resume, then the reader might be confused as to what you're writing to them about. And they might feel like you're not the right person for the position or action or scholarship. Okay. The effectiveness of this means basically just that your purpose is clear, right? It shows why you are writing it. It's visually appropriate and appealing, so you don't have things all over the place in different boxes. And it's grammatically correct with no errors in punctuation or spelling. And then this one here, it includes all the necessary information about the writer. So for instance, if you're looking at a job, and obviously, you know, it'll be like an entry-level job, you're not necessarily going to put in the fact that you like to garden on the weekends with your Nana, right? That doesn't have anything to do with that job, unless, of course, it's like a, you want to get a job at a gardening center, okay? All right. So you guys are going to take a look at a sample resume and we're going to walk you through it, but you can either have this printed off or just on the slide is fine as well. And you can kind of write down some things as to what the 3 F's in the sample resume are. We're going to try this out. So again, we're looking at form, function, and effectiveness, right? When I think about the form itself, so I have, I'm noticing some things. This is what I'm noticing. Is I see that her name, the person's name is big and bold. That's part of the form. And then when I'm looking at the various headings, everything is really organized. So she has her education, her activities, some work experience. And then on this other column, she has skills, additional things that she's done in terms of work, and then hobbies. Hobbies can be important depending on the function of the resume. This would be particularly good to add in if it's for like a college admissions application or a scholarship application. So now that is the form. You can see the actual organization of it, and it's pretty basically laid out, okay? The function for this, her function, or we look at the purpose, is a responsible high school student looking to further her professional experience. So to me, that function says that I'm looking for a job, right? So this is the function of her resume, is to help look for a job. And then the effectiveness is really, it's user opinion at this point, or audience opinion at this point. If I'm looking for a student who, or a person who has some creativity and has some reading and like strong reading and writing skills, she would be a perfect candidate. So really you want to make sure that when you are doing your resume that you're tailoring it to the place that you're hiring. Okay, so if it is a place, like in this case, I'm gonna assume that she's maybe applying to like a literary magazine, or maybe like the yearbook staff or something like that. These are all going to be helpful for her. Okay, so this is just a quick pause point for you to kind of get your thoughts going. So if you want to pause here for a second and answer this question: why is having a resume important for a high school student who's on the verge of graduating? That's you right there. You want to answer in no less than 5 sentences. All right, and we're back. Okay, so on your own, here's what you're going to be doing today. You're going to use the Google document template to start or revise your current resume, okay? If you don't have a resume, that's okay. That's why we're doing this. We want everybody by the end of the next week or two to have resumes, cover letters, and know how to compose emails professionally. So there's 3 different examples for you. They're all linked in the PowerPoint. This additional one has just a way for you to scroll down. But that's your time to just take, and then you're going to start your own resume. Here's how you're going to do that, okay? All right, give me 1 second. We're just going to get back into here. Okay, so if you go to Google Docs, everybody knows how to go to Google Docs. You're going to actually go over here to the template gallery, and then you can just expand that and scroll down, and there's a whole section that's just on resumes. So the resume that we looked at for the young woman, Rachel Bean, looked very similar to this one. In fact, it probably is this exact one, okay? So you could type in here. So keep in mind, some people have said in the past that like, hey, this is a different language. That is just space saving. That's just telling you that you should write something in that section. Okay, so you are welcome to use this template or any of the other ones that are listed in Google Documents, or if you have your own template from a previous resume, you can use that as well. All right, guys, so today you should understand the 3 F's, the form, function, and effectiveness of a resume. You should also be able to start thinking about some of your skills. And today, your goal is to have a rough draft of your resume ready to go by Wednesday. All right. I hope you guys have a great day. Keep in mind, this is the last week before spring break. Check Instagram for updates on what's going on, a corny joke, and even a crazy outfit for mismatch day today. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow during our live sessions. Take care.